Welcome back to Make It Stick. Let's jump into Anki. Six flashcards. What is the main point of Chapter 6? Get beyond learning styles, about one sentence. There's the myth of learning styles. Get beyond learning styles. 6 learning differences that matter. So it's about the myth of the traditional view of learning styles and 6 learning differences that do matter. What are the 6 sections of Chapter 6? Get beyond learning styles. Six sections of Chapter 6 get beyond learning styles. Gosh, dang it. The takeaway, successful intelligence, dynamic testing, structure building. No, this is, yes, that's right. No? Chapter 7. What's Chapter 7 about? Increase your abilities. Okay, I don't know. I think successful intelligence is on here. Dynamic testing. Rule versus structure building. Yeah, this is it. Active learning from the get-go. Successful intelligence, dynamic testing, rule versus example learning. The takeaway, we're missing one. Active learning from the get-go, successful intelligence, dynamic testing, structure building, rule versus example learning, the takeaway. Yes. What does varied practice help learners extract and transfer? Varied practice helps learners extract the underlying principles and patterns. Extract and transfer the underlying principles and patterns. Underlying principles or patterns of a skill, enabling flexible use in new and unfamiliar contexts. Come on. Oh my gosh. What is the main idea of Chapter 7 of Make It Stick, Increase Your Abilities, about one sentence? It's about characteristics and mindset for increasing intelligence and abilities, as well as mnemonic devices. What are the 9 sections and 9 subsections of Chapter 4, Embrace Difficulties? How learning occurs: encoding, consolidation, retrieval, extended learning, updating retrieval cues. Effort is not better. Easier isn't better. How effort helps. Reconsolidating memories, broadening mastery, creating mental models, improving versatility, priming the mind for learning, fostering conceptual learning. Other learning strategies that incorporate desirable difficulties. Failure in the myth of errorless learning. Undesirable difficulties. An example of generative learning. Undesirable difficulties to take away. Boom. Good. What is structure building? Structure building is the process of identifying and extracting the underlying points, principles, key principles, patterns, and then connecting them meaningfully. Structure building is distilling the concept subject down into its key points, patterns, finding connections between these key points, patterns. Good. Boom. What did we read about yesterday? Okay. We finished up learning tips for lifelong learners, okay? This is largely anecdotal and just stories and accounts. So we finish up the section on reflection, which included Mike Ebersole, the neurosurgeon, Vince Dooley, the Georgia football coach, and how and Sully, the pilot that the Miracle on the Hudson pilot, how they all use reflection to improve their skills and knowledge over their life. What is that? And then, okay, after that was what? Not calibration, right? I knew something was on. After reflection, what was there? Calibration? No. Elaboration? Elaboration, right? Yes, elaboration was a story of an older lady who had been a pianist her whole life, and how when she learned things, she added multiple layers to everything, all the pieces she learned. She learned the physical movements, she learned the visual notes, she learned the sounds and the music, and then she learned the theory and like the dynamic structure and like the theory of why like how it makes sense. Then we started the next section, which is learning tips for teachers, learning tips for teachers, like helping the students learn. The first tip is to teach students how learning actually works and occurs. So the main points being some difficulties actually make learning better. Easy learning often leads to learning that is quickly forgotten. Knowledge is quickly forgotten. It fades fast. Not all intellectual abilities are genetic or are fixed. Many of them we can improve through our effort and strategy and guidance. And effortful retrieval actually leads to physical brain changes, so we can become smarter, like intellectual abilities, increasing those. To learn and get better, we need to strive to surpass our current level, and striving often includes failures and setbacks, but these failures and setbacks are what provide us the information to continue to get better. All right, so some difficulties are desirable, learning is easier, effortful learning changes the brain, intellectual abilities, striving, failures. One thing I forgot. You learn better when you attempt to do something before being taught. You struggle with it rather than the other way around. So I'm going to jump back into reading now, and then I'll be back to recall what I learned a little bit. All right, so we finished up that section, a lot of subsections of tips for teachers. We finished up the section on, so the first one was like teach your students how to learn. 2 was like teach them effective study techniques, so like retrieval, spaced, interleaved practice, etc. Elaboration, generation. Incorporate desirable difficulties within the classroom. That's the next one. How can you do that? Including frequent low stakes quizzes, and including materials and activities that incorporate desirable difficulties and effective study techniques. And then be transparent. So teach students about desirable difficulties, teach them what they are, teach them how they're incorporated in the class, and how they may feel and why they're important. And then we just started the next section, which is, or subsection within teacher tips for teachers, which is about this biology professor at Washington University, Mary something. She focuses on Bloom's taxonomy, So this is 6 stages of basically, level of knowledge, level of learning, and it was made in 1956. I doubt it's really that important, or else the book would have explained it more, but it may be more or not myth, but theory and lore rather than empirical evidence. But the base is knowledge, then it's conceptual understanding, and then it's application, being able to apply it, then it's analysis, being able to analyze it. Interesting, that's above that. Then it's like synthesis, so synthesizing, connecting different ideas, and then finally evaluation, which is being able to like make judgments, evaluations of ideas based on the knowledge. So like looking through the lens of that knowledge. So interesting. I think that's basically everything from today. Yep. Provide practice tests. That's another way to include desirable difficulties in/out of the classroom, like in a school setting. So that's it for today. Talk to you tomorrow. See ya.